Aloha everyone, this is Chesapeake Movie Thoughts, and today my thoughts are going to be about the recently canceled Disney animated feature film Gigantic, which was to be the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. And I am disappointed to hear that Disney had canceled production on this movie. This movie was announced originally in 2015. And it was originally scheduled to come out in the spring of 2018, so we would have been seeing it next year had their plans not changed. But they ended up pushing it back so that they could release sequels to Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen before that. And I think we're getting the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet, next spring instead. And I believe the Frozen 2 will be coming out later. And then it was supposed to be... It had been pushed back to 2020, but now it's canceled altogether. And I am sorry to see that, because that, out of all the projects they had in the works, that was the only, like, really Disney legacy kind of thing. I mean, the others are sequels. And the Jack and the Beanstalk story, that's what Disney does. That's Disney doing classic fairy tales. They're in the Disney way and kind of redefining them, which is Disney's legacy. That's what they built their studio on, and what they've done for decades. And it's not the only thing they've done. They've done feature films about other things, but that's been the heart of their feature animation department. But now that the only things we know about, and they do say they have another project to replace it, which they haven't announced yet. But now the projects that we know about that they're working on are sequels, 2 in a row. The sequels to Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen, very recent films. And up until this point, sequels were not really a Disney thing, not from feature animation. They would have their other animation departments, like the Disney Toon Studios or the Walt Disney Television Animation. Doing sequels, and we usually would release them direct to DVD. But prior to this, there were only 3 sequels released by Walt Disney Feature Animation. Now, I'm not counting Pixar. Pixar's a different animation studio owned by Disney, but it's a different studio, and it kind of has its own history and its own legacy. But Walt Disney Feature Animation, they've done 3 sequels. First of them was The Rescuers Down Under, which was released in 1990, a sequel to a 1977 film, The Rescuers. And then there was Fantasia 2000, which was released in 2000, technically New Year's Eve in 99. But that was a sequel to Fantasia, which originally came out in 1940. And then in 2011, they released Winnie the Pooh, which is a sequel to The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which came out in the mid-70s, and I forget the exact year. I didn't think to check that before I started recording. But anyway, these weren't cash grabs. These sequels, these were, I mean, not to say that there's anything really wrong with a cash grab as a sequel, because all movies are for money. All movies are for cash. Anyway, so in some way you can say any movie is a cash grab, because if they can't make money off of it, then they can't afford to do it. So yeah, I don't begrudge them making money off of it. I don't mind a cash grab if they make it good. If they give us a good product, then yeah, they earned money as far as I see it. So the problem with a cash grab is when they take the attitude of that we don't really have to make it good because we have a built-in audience that's going to go see it anyway, just on the strength of the movie that we're making a sequel to or a prequel to or whatever. I don't think that's what Disney is doing. I don't think they are doing a cash grab. They are going for that built-in audience, but I don't think they're resting on their laurels with the sequels to Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen. Because usually they do quality work. Usually particularly with their feature animation department. I mean, they haven't all been hits. But I mean, Home on the Range, Brother Bear. Some of them haven't really been been hits, but they're usually they're trying. Usually they never really phone it in. And I'd hate to think that they're going in that direction. I hope that's not what they're doing. But previously, the sequels that have been made, they've been made to honor their legacy. And that's something that this decision and a few other decisions I've seen come from Disney. I was a huge fan of the video game Disney Infinity, which also got canceled recently. And the reason they said that Gigantic is getting canceled is that the project just wasn't coming together. They had started it and it just wasn't working out. Which could be true. It also could be the kind of non-answer that you would give if you don't really want people to know the real answer. And it could just be just a plain a change in business strategy, which it seems to me, and I hope this is not true, but it seems to me that Disney's business strategy has been changing the past few years, and that they've been kind of doing what other studios do, which is just striking while the iron is hot, just capitalizing on what's popular, what's trending. Whereas before they were, more concerned with their legacy, and it's not that they weren't out to make money, but they were finding that if you do quality work, you have an identity, and you honor that identity and that legacy, then you'll get the money. The money will come in. Whereas a lot of other studios have been so risk averse that they've been just copying whatever recent success came out, and whether it's doing a movie in the same vein as another successful movie, or doing a sequel or a prequel. Not that that's always bad, but sometimes they will do that, instead of something that may have been riskier but may have been more rewarding. And every once in a while, of course, they'll do something risky which will really pay off, but then everybody copies that. So I am looking at Disney, Frozen. Now Frozen was one that was one of their what I would call legacy movies, in that it is a fairy tale, an animated fairy tale. But that was such a big hit that it blew up so much that now Disney is doing Frozen 2, which I can't blame them for doing that. But it used to be that if they did that, they would do that. They would hand it off to like Disney Toon Studios or something, and have that come out direct to DVD, and their feature animation would go on to pioneering what the next big thing was going to be. And of course they wouldn't all hit, but they'd be trying, they'd be throwing things to the wall to see what sticks. It just seems like, I hope I'm wrong, but it seems like Disney is, they used to be the trendsetters, now they just want to follow the trend. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's not the case. But when it comes down to it, now Disney does not have a fairy tale in the works. The Frozen 2 doesn't count. The fairy tale was the Snow Queen. That's what Frozen was. Frozen 2 is a sequel. It's like was Cinderella 2 on DVD, or Cinderella 3. Were they a fairy tale? They were a sequel to a fairy tale. They don't have a fairy tale, a classic fairy tale to do in the Disney style in the works. So I would like to see Disney do more with their legacy, rather than just doing what is popular. Which Disney, I used to be able to depend on Disney to do that. Disney used to be the studio that I would look to do that. But now I'm not sure. This could be a minor aberration, and I hope it is. But we'll see. We'll see what that new project is. They've got it planned to replace Gigantic. I would have liked to have seen that, though. Gigantic being Jack and the Beanstalk, which is that's the kind of thing Disney does. It's the kind of thing they're good at. They did have like a kind of a version of that before, but it was Mickey and the Beanstalk. They did it as a Mickey Mouse featurette, as part of the two featurettes that they put together for one of their anthology films in the 40s, Fun and Fancy Free. They had which was with the other one being Bongo. and then Mickey and the Beanstalk. So it's kind of an abridged one, and kind of done mostly for laughs, because it was with Mickey and those characters. But to do like a full feature-length version of that, with, you know, the legitimately Jack and not Mickey, although, you know, I love Mickey, but to see him, you know, do the Disney take on that would have been something that I would have been eager to see. But so we'll see what they end up coming up with to replace it, and I hope it's not Big Hero 6 2, although I do like Big Hero 6, and I'd love to see a sequel to it in some way, but, you know, I would be happy with that being direct-to-DVD, you know, rather than being, like, the big thing that they're investing so much in. So we'll have to see what direction Disney goes with that, and I hope that they remember their legacy, and maybe, like, bring back 2D animation. Man, do we need 2D animation back these days. I found out just recently that there's one that just a 2D animated, hand-drawn 2D animated feature film that just came out that I didn't really even know about. It kind of was not on my radar anyway, but that's kind of understandable because it's the My Little Pony movie. And I guess I had no interest in My Little Pony, although I've heard it's good. I've heard the My Little Pony show, the current iteration of it, not the one from the 80s, but the current iteration of it is actually pretty good. People say it's good. I haven't watched it. I'm kind of nerdy enough already. So if I did watch it and did actually get into it, and that would kind of make me a brony, and I'm like, I don't need to add that to my nerd cred. I'm nerdy enough already. But I saw a review of My Little Pony, the movie, and the animation was nice. It was 2D animation done for feature film, so it actually had some quality to it, and it was nice. I don't know if I would actually go out to see it, but it was nice to see some of that high quality animation being done, and I just wish it were for something other than My Little Pony. Jack and the Beanstalk, or like another classic fairy tale like that. I mean, if Disney were to do that, and the last time they did that with a classic fairy tale was The Princess and the Frog, which was successful, just not as successful as they were projecting. So it's just the weird thing about Hollywood these days. If it's not as successful as you're projecting, but it still makes money, they still kind of consider it a failure. So maybe it was your expectations that were off, not the movie, but whatever. But anyway, if Disney does embrace their legacy, and they go and they throw in some 2D animation every now and then, and I think Disney would be better off for it. I think the Disney fans, like myself, would enjoy that more. But we're still gonna go see the sequels and all of that. But some things precious is in danger of being forgotten. That's where we are right now, and I hope it doesn't happen. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.